Welcome. Give me a moment to set up the live video and we'll get started. Let's see here. I'm going to invite some people. Hey guys, welcome. So again, if you've got some friends who you want to join us, try doing the watch party thing. I think that's a good way to, if you have people you want to share this with, to get them to join in. I tried doing this from the Mahapatha Yoga page. I don't think it worked. Can everybody hear me okay? Just write in the comment box if you can hear me. I'm using a new microphone and I'm hoping that it's working okay. So can everybody hear me? Hi, Lee. Okay, thank you, Maggie. Welcome, Kristen. Sounds great. Good. All right, awesome. All right. Hello, Delona. Welcome. All right. Switching pages now. Yeah, the other one wasn't, I don't know, it's not quite working yet. They're switching to some kind of new streaming thing, and I don't know, that it may not work as well as this old one, so we'll see how it goes. I may end up having to switch onto another platform. Hey, Kristen. Marta, welcome. All right, so today I thought we'd do something a little different. And if no one has anything to say, then, I'll think of something to say. But I thought I'd just let you guys write in the comments if you have a question, like a yoga-related question or something related to, spirituality, anything like that. Just write it in the comments there. And hopefully I'll understand what your question is. I know it could be kind of a, texting or, putting in a chat box, a spiritual question can be easy to get lost or something like that. But if any of you have something that you kind of on your mind right now, I thought we'd try this out. We had a couple of talks where I just talked the whole time. And, that's fine. That's one way of doing it. But I wanted to see if anyone had any questions. If not, I've got a few points that I'll make, but I just wanted to start, see if anybody had something. Any questions? Maybe you're typing right now, I don't know. All right, well, I don't see any questions coming across, so rather than having a bunch of dead air, I'll start talking. So if you haven't yet learned meditation with me, I do recommend that you check out, there's a video like this one here on Facebook. It's also on my Patreon page, and I suggest you check that out about starting meditation practice, because that really helps with what I'm going to talk about. But what I wanted to talk about is sort of letting go, to begin talking about, is letting go of our compulsive need to control. And I'm not just talking about controlling other people or controlling situations in our lives, but actually controlling, how we think and how we feel moment to moment. Okay, so just take a moment now. Maybe close your eyes, and then I want you to notice what you're feeling and how you feel. And I think most of us are going to assume that how we're feeling in this moment somehow is lacking. So notice if that's there, if there's sort of an assumption in your mind that this moment, the one exactly that you're in right now, is somehow subpar, it's not as good as it could be, you know, the tomorrow is going to be better, you're looking forward to, you know, whatever it is. Maybe you're even looking so far forward, like, oh, when social distancing ends, you know. So just, I want you to notice in this very moment, you close your eyes, you go inside, and is there a sense that somehow what you are experiencing in this very moment is like not enough, or that you somehow need to improve it or change it in some way? So I want you to just notice if that's going on for you, okay? And if it's not, great. If you're like, no, I'm totally at peace and I just feel, you know, love welling up in my heart, then awesome. Then maybe this talk won't be that helpful for you. But I think most people, if they're honest, they'll say, yeah, I don't feel as good as I wished I felt. I want to feel differently. I want to feel better. So let's just start there. And then what I'm going to recommend is that instead of assuming that thought that what you're experiencing right now is not what you're looking for, or is something that needs to change or become better, or whatever the idea is, I'm going to invite you to begin to let go of that sort of compulsive need. It's a type of control. It's a type of judgment. It's a type of putting a certain kind of structure on top of something that you're finding in your mind. So you're labeling it. You're deciding it's not. Well, this isn't really what I'm looking for. This isn't what I want. I want you to see if you can just stop that for a minute, and instead just really open up to what's there, what's going on in this moment. So there's no more a assumption that this moment could be different or better than it is. So just whatever you're feeling, your eyes are closed, you're feeling into your body, you're noticing your thoughts. And yeah, everyone likes, you know, a clear mind. Everyone likes a happy heart. So I get that. But that's not what we're feeling, right? That's not the label that you would give to what you're experiencing right now. So instead of assuming that, oh, I'm supposed to have this clear mind, I'm supposed to have this happy heart, let's just notice what we are feeling, okay? So let it be really raw. Let it be just sort of exactly what it is. And again, letting go of the idea that it should be different, or that it could even be different. Okay, let's just say this is all that there is. This moment, there's this whatever. It might be really nasty and raw, right? And that's okay. So you're like, okay, this really nasty, raw, I'm just going to really let that be exactly as it is. Now, if it's really intense, and this happens times where we're maybe experiencing trauma, or, you know, something really intense happening. Some of us might be experiencing it with this pandemic, like a sense of anxiety or something like that. The part of our mind that I'm going to call the ego, it basically says to us that you can't take this anymore. You need to get away from this. You need to run away from this. So I know that many of you're sitting at home, you're watching this on, Facebook, probably fine, right? Relatively speaking, you got your AC on, it's relatively comfortable. But you can remember times where you felt an emotion or a sensation so strong you feel like, I just can't take this 1 second longer. Okay, so the ego might believe that, we have to change it, it needs to be better, whatever it is. But our true nature, really, if we understand what our true nature really is, it has infinite capacity. It really has, there's no limit to what it can experience. It is infinite capacity, unlimited capacity. So again, your eyes are closed, you're just sort of feeling into your body, noticing the thoughts. And again, if you're not meditating, then this is going to be harder for you. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but this is why we do mind training. So these types of exercises really become quite effortless for us. We've separated from our emotions, we've separated from our thoughts. We can step back and just sort of observe them, and that's what I'm asking you to do right now. Okay? So maybe I'm feeling some things, and again, my ego might, the thought might arise that, no, I can't take this, I don't want this, I want to get away from this, I need to change it, I need it to stop. And again, some of you might be experiencing that in that moment. I want you to notice that. And then I want you to really ask, is that really true? Is that really true that I have to change it, or I need to get away from this? Or is it really just there's a sort of energy there that every time you felt that, or maybe it's a thought, or both, and every time that thought or that energy is arised, that's what you've done. You've tried to escape, you've tried to run away, you've tried to change what was going on. So notice if that's happening now in your experience. You're feeling this feeling. Again, it may not be very intense. It might just be a feeling of like, well, this moment, it's Sunday night, it's during this pandemic, I'm not in Puerto Rico, I'm not on the beach, I'm not partying with my friends, I'm not getting married right now, I'm not having some kind of peak experience. So this moment is, again, somehow subpar. That's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is, actually, I'm really freaked out right now, right? My heart is beating. I feel a knot in my stomach or my throat or my heart. I have all these fear thoughts that keep coming up about the future. So you could be anywhere on that spectrum. And I just want you to, again, it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum. It's the same process. That the ego maybe thinks it can't take this any longer, which is a lie. Maybe the ego can't. That might be true. But you can, because you're not your ego. So that's what's important for us to recognize, that I can have the thought, I can't take this anymore, I'm going to go insane, I can't take this anymore. But that thought may not actually be true. And again, we can have the thought, oh, this moment sucks. I don't like the way I feel in this moment. Oh, my mind is, racing. I don't like it when my mind races. Again, that's just a thought. That's just a thought. We can be like, oh, that's an interesting thought. Okay? So, instead of assuming that what you are experiencing in this moment is somehow lacking, and that love, peace, bliss, joy are to be found at some other place or in some other time, I want you to let go of that thought. I want you to question that thought. Because again, that's a thought that most of us are going to have. This is just, it's Sunday night. It's nothing special. Bliss? Sunday night on Facebook Live? Really? No, I'm not going to experience bliss. I close my eyes, like Doug says, and I just feel all this conflict inside of me, right? Or I have my mind's racing. Isn't my mind supposed to be quiet for me to experience bliss? Well, I don't know. Is it? That's what a lot of us hear, isn't it? I have to have a quiet mind to meditate. I need to let go of my desires, whatever it is that we hear. We have all these ideas about what we've learned, what it takes to find bliss, what it takes to find peace, what it takes to find joy. And all of us are convinced that this that we're experiencing right now is not it, right? This isn't it. This can't be it. Don't I need to go to the Himalayas to experience that? Don't I need to go on at least to one of your yoga retreats, Doug? Don't I need to meditate for hours and hours and hours before I'm going to experience something like that? Well, if you have that thought, then that's probably going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I'm going to invite you right now, again, go inside, close your eyes. And rather than assume that you are simply, that any of those ideas are true, I want you to assume instead that there's some confusion there. That those thoughts are coming from a place of confusion. That they aren't, it's not that they're evil thoughts, but they're just confused thoughts. They miss the mark. My understanding of the root for the word sin, the original root for that word, just meant to miss the mark. It didn't mean bad person. It didn't mean evil or anything like that. It just meant you're shooting for this and you got that, right? And so our thoughts are trying to be helpful. Our mind is trying to be helpful. It's coming up with things. And again, it says, oh, this sucks and I don't like this and this isn't what I want. I want bliss. I want peace. I want joy. This isn't it. Like, we need to go and do something to get that. That's what we think. And that's what I call the conventional viewpoint. And spirituality is not about the conventional viewpoint. So if you think you need to go out and make $1 million to get happy, then stop watching right now. If you think that you need the pandemic to end to find joy or peace, then just stop watching right now, because that has nothing to do with what my teaching is about. Okay, so this is about finding all that stuff that we're looking for and right now and right here. Okay, and it's not what we think. It's not going to show up in the way that we think it's going to show up. Okay, so you have to follow me with this process. So assume that there's just some confusion there, okay? And that it is this very confusion that is keeping you from experiencing the very things that you think. So it's not that you need anything to experience those things, but the very fact that I think I need to have money, I need to have fame, I need success, I need love from outside, that's why I don't experience love, peace, bliss, joy in this moment, in every moment of my life. Because again, I close my eyes, I go inside, and I say, oh, this isn't it. Okay, where do I go to find it? How long do I have to wait till it shows up? And yet, I think every spiritual tradition in one form or another tells us it's always here, it's infinite. So it's always here, it's always now, it's everywhere. Okay, it's infinite. So thinking, well, where do I need to go to find it? What practice do I need to do to have it? You've already set yourself apart. You're already putting yourself apart from it. And yet the spiritual traditions are telling us, no, it's right here, right now, inside of you. You are it. And yet, okay, I'm it, so what do I need to do? That's the confusion. What do I need to do to, you are it. So start looking at what you are. Start looking into what you are instead of trying to look out there someplace else to find it. Okay? So what is the confusion? Basically, it is that what you are feeling and experiencing now is not what will bring you lasting peace, joy, love, bliss, what you're looking for. That's what most of us think, right? We close our eyes, we go inside, and we say, I don't like the way I feel. Like, I need to do something. I need to fix this. I need to change it. And this happens in spirituality too, right? Okay, now I need to do some pranayama. I feel unbalanced, so I need to do some nadi shodhana. Ooh, I feel really weird in my body, so I'm going to do some postures. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But what I am pointing to, and what I'm going to call, and I'm not putting anybody down, okay, but this is just the word I'm going to use, true spirituality teaches us is that what we really are that peace and that bliss in which these other experiences come and go. So So everyday happiness and sadness comes and goes within the bliss, the peace, the joy, the love that we are. So what we are has the capacity to hold these other states because it is not a state. So as long as I'm looking for a state, ooh, happiness, ooh, a buzz, oh, my body feels so balanced, well then I'm never going to be able to maintain that. That life is about change. Some of you read the commentary that I put up on the Patreon page today that about change. Change is it. Change is life. You think that you're going to do certain postures or get to a certain point where you're in this sort of changeless state. Well, changeless state is what we on this plane call death. Why do we not consider rocks alive? Because they don't change. Human being changes, right? You can change a human being from 1 second to the next. You say something nasty to them and they get in a bad mood. A minute ago they were in a good mood. And you say, you know, screw you, man, and then all of a sudden they're in a bad mood. Change is life. The more that something changes to a degree, the more alive we think it is. Okay, so that is one aspect of our being, but there's another aspect that is the very being in which those changes arise. So what we do is we go inside and we confuse the changing states, and we want to find a state that possesses peace, love, bliss, joy, and you'll never find it. They'll come and go. That is in their nature. They will come and they will go. So we're looking for something that's beyond the state that we're in. But usually we have to surrender completely to the state we're in order to see that. We have to really stop struggling, stop wrestling with the state that we're in order to get to that stateless state, to the beingness, okay? So again, the confusion is that which you are feeling and experience now is not what will allow you or lead you to lasting peace, bliss, joy, love. We have to let go of that thought. We have to stop running away from the states. Okay? That's again what meditation really is. If you've learned meditation with me, this is what I've been trying to teach you to do. Sit down, face the wall, stop moving, stop trying to make it perfect, and instead go into or allow yourself to open to the state that you're experiencing, whatever state it is. And that's the interesting thing, is we think we need to be in some altered state in order to get in touch with our being. We do not need to be in an altered state. Being is infinite. It is timeless. It's not going anywhere. It's not going, it's not coming. The states will come and go, including mystical states. Okay, so mystical states are not what we're talking about here, okay? All right. So, whatever discomfort, so again, I want you to close your eyes, be still, just relax. Now, whatever discomfort you feel is going to be the very doorway to what we're trying to notice, okay? By again, letting go of the need to try and control that, to try and manipulate it away, by trying to alter it, to try and intensify it or not intensify it. Okay, so I want you, again, your eyes are closed, you're still, you're going inside. What are you feeling? Can you just let it be there? Can you just completely let it be there? You are not trying to change anything. Instead, you are trying to open more and more, to open yourself up to it more fully. And as you do that, I want you to notice what happens to it, if anything. as you accept. Maybe you're really bored right now, right? Maybe you've been listening to this from the beginning. You're like, what the hell is he talking about? I don't know. I go inside, I don't feel anything. Okay, then that's your state. Your state is, I don't feel anything. And instead of thinking, well, I should be feeling something, again, this is the whole thing I've been talking about from the beginning. Well, aren't I supposed to be feeling something? He's talking about feeling something. I don't feel anything. No, you don't feel anything? Then that's what you're feeling. Okay, so again, the state does not matter, because what we learn again in real spirituality is that which we're really looking for is not a state. It doesn't come and go. Okay, so whatever state we're in, we are surrendering to that. We are allowing ourselves to fully embrace that, open up to that. Okay? So we might ask, why is it that we feel good when we get what we want? Now, I think the temptation is to think that we feel good because we achieved our goal, or we got what we want, or whatever it is. I'm going to argue that we feel good because we don't want anything for a minute. Okay, so I want $1 million. I get $1 million, and for a day or two, or a week or two, or maybe a year, I don't know, a little while, I don't want anything because I got what I wanted. And so I'm present. I'm present. And in that presence, because my mind isn't oriented in the future, it's not oriented in the past, I got what I wanted. So that counts with a coffee too, right? There's this moment where you take that sip of coffee and it's like, oh, yes, okay, got what I wanted. But I'm going to argue that it's more the letting go, the fact that we don't want anything, that is what really feels good. Now again, right now, you have your eyes closed, you're inside, right? If your body and your mind, you're watching your body and your mind, and you're thinking, no, I need these desires to be fulfilled for me to feel peace or joy, happiness. And I'm going to argue, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. Okay? So again, we're not trying to push those things away. We aren't manipulating them. The states, they come and go. I'm not interested in pushing them away, but we are accepting them as they are. But we're also not believing that we need them to change, that we need to, if I have the thought, I need this pandemic to end so I can stop being so nervous, or I can start sleeping at night, I'm going to let go of that thought. I'm not going to believe that thought. Okay? I don't need anything to change to find peace, joy, love, bliss. And I can find those things in any moment, regardless of state. Okay, so I might be in a state of sadness. I want to be very clear. I might be in a state of sadness, and yet those things that I described are transcendent of the state. Okay? And again, they may not be what I think they are going to be. True love may not be the experience that I think it's going to be going in. True peace, the peace that passeth all understanding, like they talk about in Christianity, that may not be the experience that I think it's going to be. And again, the expectation of I know what peace feels like, I know what bliss, love, joy feel like, very often actually blocks us from having that experience. Okay? So why do I feel good when I get what I want? Probably because I don't want anything. Now, what if we turn it around? And we just say, instead of getting what I want and then letting go of wanting something so I can feel good, right? and I have to get what I want to do that. What if I just, in this moment, and again, a lot of you thinking, well, okay, I need to train and I need to let go of my desires. I need to become a monk. I need to give up sex and coffee and alcohol. And no, right now is all that matters in spirituality. Right now. It's not about the future. Right now, can I let go of needing anything? I don't care about if tomorrow you need a cup of coffee. Right now. Spirituality is always about right now, moment to moment. It's not about how do I keep this into the future. Right now, can I let go of wanting anything, needing anything to be different than it is? And again, how does that change the state that you're in? Does it change the state that you're in? Okay, might be yes, might be no. All right, I don't want you to have too much of a idea of expectation there. Okay. Sorry, my phone is acting weird now. That's where I had all my notes written for this. So, letting go of wanting anything. Does our state change? Do we feel a shift there? That again, we might think, I need to satisfy these desires. And again, I don't care about tomorrow's desires. I don't care about your long-term goals. I don't care about the past, what you think, what baggage. Oh, well, I'd love to not want anything, but my mom did this to me. Who cares? Does that matter right now? Is your mom here right now, abusing you or doing whatever it is that traumatized you so much? No. It's just you and your own thoughts, your own feelings. Okay, so again, we're fully accepting them as they are. We don't want them to change. And in not wanting, do we find that there is a shift, a change there? Now see if you can rest in the perfection of what in Buddhism is called suchness or isness. So in this moment, everything just is what it is. We're letting go of any value judgments, letting go of any wants, needs, or desires for anything to be different than it is. Just for this moment, just for right now. We're not worried about tomorrow. We're not worried about yesterday. We're not worried about how much yoga we've practiced, how much meditation we've done. Just in this moment, the suchness of my heart and my mind. I'm feeling certain things, and I might be thinking certain things. And again, if I assume those things are not spiritual, that those things are different than divinity or source, which every spiritual tradition tells us is not true, then I am confused. Then I am going to look elsewhere, aren't I? I'm going to try and find a practice to do so that I can be spiritual. And yes, there's some great practices that you can do that give you really amazing experiences, but they are states, they are experiences, they come and they go. The spirituality that I teach is about that which does not come and does not go. So can you rest in the suchness, and then can you rest as that isness, that suchness, the being? That just there's being there. There's no experience without being first. There must be a sense of I am, a sense of being, We can call it awareness. And the state, whatever state you're in, whichever state it is, happiness, sadness, excitement, anxiety, those states are rising within this beingness, this isness, this suchness. And that beingness has the capacity to hold any experience, good or bad, right or wrong, wanted or unwanted. And it is ultimately not separate or different from the objects which are arising within it. Can you sense that, or can you feel that? Sure, the states, the objects, they come and they go. Sure, I get that. So they may seem like they are separate, but they arise out of that vastness, that suchness, that isness. They also have a suchness of their own when we stop judging them. And this is why that's so important, to let go of needing anything to be any different than it is. The compulsive need, again, to control. So we're letting go of that. That no, this state I'm in right now, this isn't the state that Doug's talking about. Yes, it is. The very state that you find yourself in right now is what I am talking about, because what I'm talking about transcends any particular state. You're noticing the state. It might be changing. It might be coming and going. But notice that it comes and goes within or from something that is always present and always there. Okay, so there's a certain type of stability that is there, even when that which is arising within that stability is very unstable. So our minds, sometimes when we meditate, are just freaking out. And then we might say, oh my God, I'm freaking out, I can't meditate. But who or what is it that is noticing that the mind is freaking out? Those of you who study meditation with me a bit know that I teach that your probably mind is like that all the time. All the time, while you're driving, when you're at work, it's freaking out. And you sit down and meditate and you think your mind has started freaking out because you're meditating. I'm going to say it's probably not true. Your mind's probably always doing that. And the only thing that's changed is the stillness and the silence has allowed you to become aware of that. And so we often use movement, activity, busyness to distract ourselves, to hide or mask all that activity that's going on in the mind. All right? But again, that activity, it doesn't mean that that which we are, our source, our true nature, has gone anywhere. It's our source and true nature that's noticing that the mind is agitated, or the heart is upset, or we're in a sad state, or we're in a happy state. And again, if we get too identified on the egoic level, on the individual level, on the human level, then we're chasing after these states, and we're trying to control these states, and we're trying to prolong certain states, and we're trying to shorten other states. But when we can live with both, where we are that capacity to hold the different states, and we are the states also, they are not separate from us. That is a common misconception in spirituality, where people get too identified with what could be called witness consciousness, and they think, well, I'm not the body, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, there's nobody here, I'm pure emptiness, all this kind of stuff. That's the kind of talk where in the past, if you had a Zen master, they might hit you with a stick. And then when you got upset, they'd be like, oh, well, there was no one there, so who is this who's upset now? So Zen is such a beautiful tradition. I'm so grateful that that was the first spiritual tradition that I was introduced to, because it understands this need to live with both, that we really need to hold both at the same time. And that is what really allows us to live a full and powerful human experience and human life. That's what allows us to show up with power and compassion for others. So let me continue with my notes here. So I say here, it's only when you don't want anything that in that very moment, awareness is now totally free to be whatever it needs to be. See if you can notice that as long as you're sitting there and thinking, I need something to be different right now. It's too hot, it's too cold, I'm feeling this emotion or that emotion, or my mind is doing this or that. Then awareness isn't really free. It's preoccupied. It's pushing against something. But if we let go of all that pushing, we let go of the effort, we just stop. We just stop. And we stop stopping, if that makes sense. So there, oh, how do I stop? Am I stopping right? Is this, just stop. You just right now, right here, you just stop. Just whatever is completely open. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. And then see if you can experience that vastness of awareness in that. That now awareness is free. It's not preoccupied with one object. Oh, my thoughts are this. Or, oh, I feel this, I feel sad. I don't want to feel sad. I need to feel happy. I need to feel different. It's not concerned with the future or the past. We just let go of those things. And in this moment, resting as that awareness, as that beingness, as that vast space in which all experience comes and goes, there is a sense of freedom. There is a sense of freedom. That from that space, it can move anywhere. It can be anything. It can manifest anything. Now, it is only when we have that sense of freedom that comes from, again, not trying to control or manipulate how we're feeling. We don't want anything to be different than it is. It is from that space that true compassion can arise. True presence can arise from that. And we can call that a loving awareness as well. And this might sound strange, but love and compassion in their truest, unadulterated form, they don't even want someone to change, even if it's for their own good. So a lot of times people will say things like, well, I love you, so I want you to get off drugs or something like that. And I understand that that makes sense from a conventional perspective. But as many of you have heard me say in the past, the spiritual view is not the conventional view. So again, if you have a preacher, a yoga teacher, a guru, whoever it is who's telling you stuff that is kind of common sense from a conventional view, then you're probably not actually dealing with real spirituality. You're dealing with someone who's, talking some kind of new age philosophy. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's useless. But this is about something that's different than the conventional view. And so if we are really loving is allowing something or appreciating something as it is. That doesn't mean that people can't change or that we can't help people change, but the question is, do they want to? Are they interested? Very common question that I get from students of mine who have a real spiritual awakening. I think one of the marks very often of an authentic spiritual awakening is there is a very strong desire to want to share it with others. Now, that does not mean that everyone should rush out and try and become a yoga teacher. That's not what I mean by a long shot. But there is a very strong, almost sort of missionary zeal that can arise when we really wake up that, oh my God, I need to tell everyone that I love about this. This is so incredible. This is, in yoga the word is Dvija, which is twice born. And we have a very similar word that Christians use, right? The born again. And that's how it feels, folks. At least it can feel that way. I'm not going to say that spiritual awakening feels that way for everybody, but it can feel that way that, okay, I was born, I had my physical birth, and what just happened to me was essentially as important as my physical birth. That I am now a different person than I was before. I'm a different being than I was before. I have been transformed. So this is the some of you have spiritual names. You go on a retreat or you go to a training and they give you a new name. Well, the question is why are you giving a new name? Because you're supposed to be a different person. And if you have a real spiritual awakening, you are. That might not be apparent immediately. And it, to some people, may never be apparent. But the essence of spiritual awakening is we are transformed. We are different people. And very often, there can arise this sort of missionary zeal where it's like, I need to tell everyone about this. I need to tell my mom. I need to tell my dad. I got to tell my significant other. I need to wake everybody up. What do I do to wake everybody up? Well, I very often have to tell students that you don't do anything. It's not your job. And you can't force this on anybody. And it's very much like a moth to a flame or, bees to honey. The people are drawn to this when they're ready. Now, it's not to say that you can't invite someone to a retreat or to a class or share one of these talks with someone, or, if you think someone's, there to share with them. But, I get it, because that's the experience I had. When I woke up, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I need to share this with everybody. I need to tell everybody. And I was probably really irritating for a while. And then eventually I realized, you can't, it doesn't work that way. You can't be so, in fact, the more emphatic and excited you are, sometimes just the more Looney Tunes you seem. And people are like, all right, good. I'm glad you found whatever it is you found. But, I'm not interested in it. And you're thinking, well, I'm doing it for their own good. I want them to experience what I've experienced. I want that because I love them. But true love is really full acceptance. I'm going to say the same about compassion. We're really being compassionate with someone. We're really just present with them. We are fully with them. We are not in the future. We're not in the past. And we're not wanting them to be a better version of themselves, especially if they don't want to be a better version of themselves. We are respecting them for who they are. Now, here's the interesting bit, is we might even understand this when it comes to other people, right? But do we practice that when it comes to ourselves? And this brings us right back to the beginning of this talk, where I was telling you to let go of the compulsive need that we almost all have to try and control what we think and what we feel. Okay, and that compulsive need, I am going to argue, does so much more damage than it does good. So compassion and love is accepting something as it is in this moment, fully and completely. Again, it's in the nature of things to change. And ironically, when we let go of our need to control and to try and manage and to try and fix, and we're just fully present again, and we're free, we have that freedom that comes with that, then we often find that the inspiration and the tools and the energy that we need to make real change, whether it's for ourselves or it's to help others, to be available for another, right, in that moment, we have it. It's there. It's part of that fabric of what we really are. When we're trying too hard, no, I love you, so I need you to get off of drugs. I love you, so I need you to stop drinking. I love you, so I need you to love me back. I love you, so I need whatever it is. And again, with ourselves. Oh, I'm trying to love myself, so I need to stop eating so much. I'm trying to love myself, so I need to stop. You know, what if we just let go of all those ideas of what we needed to do to love ourselves, to fix ourselves, to be our best selves? And what if we just really accepted completely? And again, this is not something you can do in the future, right? Because you might be thinking, well, okay, I'm getting it now, but what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Tomorrow is a thought of the future. Tomorrow, when tomorrow is now, you do the same exact thing. Whatever it is that is arising, that is the small you in that moment, the thoughts, the feelings, right? Whatever it is that's coming up, even expectations, right? So here's a trick that can happen. As you've heard me say, okay, we're letting go of all this stuff and we're letting go of control. Well, that also means letting go of the need to control not controlling, right? Because this is a trick that comes up in the mind. Okay, I have to let go of control. I have to let go of control. Well, I'm not letting go of control. What's going on? God damn it, why can't I let go of control? That's another form of control, isn't it? Isn't it? And so the mind's very tricky. And this is a game that the ego loves to play. It loves that. Taking a spiritual teaching and then turning it into another opportunity to create contraction, to create a sense of smallness, to create a sense of victimhood, of helplessness, to convince you that you are not what you really are. And so it loves that. Oh, Doug said I need to let go of control, but I can't let go of control. What the fuck is wrong with me? What's my problem? Oh my God, I'm not spiritual. I can't do it. let go of the control of needing to let go of control. And you keep letting go. Whatever is arising, all right, you are letting go of needing that to be any different than it is. And at first, this can be very difficult, and it can be difficult to spot the tricks in our mind that are going on like that. But over time, you get better at spotting it. And you get better at just relaxing back into that vast spaciousness and openness and suchness that you are, that everything else is arising, is coming and going in. And that begins to become a place where you can rest, and a place from where you can enjoy life, the coming and going that life is. It's almost like, you know, the way I sometimes talk about life or try and compare life is, it's almost like Spirit came here to watch a very, very intense, you might say, movie. Okay, that's one way of thinking of it. If you are all-knowing, you are all-powerful, you are everything, and you are all time and all space, it gets kind of boring after a while. It's like, yeah, I'm everything, I'm nothing, I'm all things, I'm always, I'm never. It gets kind of boring. So you think, you know what, I'm going to jump in a human body and I'm going to go down to earth so I can have an experience. The same reason why you go to a theater. You go to a theater, oh, let's watch this movie because it's an adventure, or it's a drama, or it's a comedy. We go to have an experience, to feel something. Now, what if you were watching, let's say, The Walking Dead, the TV show where there's zombies, all right? You're watching at home, you're enjoying it, and then all of a sudden, snap, you think you're in it. You're going to freak out. You're not going to enjoy it anymore, are you? You're not going to enjoy it. But what if you were watching The Walking Dead, but you weren't really paying attention ever, and you didn't really care about the character, you didn't like the characters, or the writing was really bad, and you were never really drawn into the story? It's also not enjoyable. So, where most human beings are today is the first example. They think they're in The Walking Dead. You think you are that body. You think you are those thoughts and those emotions, and you think that you need to fix how you feel in order to be okay. And you run around trying to arrange the outside world in a way that you find acceptable. And then you think that you can relax, and you will feel loved, and you will feel peace, and you will feel joy. I can pretty much guarantee you that if that is your approach, you will fail. You will have moments where everything will kind of align, and you'll think, okay, I did it, and then something's going to come along and change, because that is the nature of this movie experience. If we're going to compare human life to a movie, that is the nature of these movie experiences. What happens sometimes in a spiritual path is people go too far in the other direction. They lose interest. Oh, I'm not interested in human life. I don't have any desires. I don't have any wants. I don't have sex. I don't have any partners. I don't want anything. I just am meditating all day long. I'm free of desire. I'm pure. Okay, great. That's like watching the Walking Dead and not being interested in any of the characters, anything that happens. Okay, great. But you're also not really enjoying anything. You're not having the experience that you came for. So the right orientation is, again, neither of those two extremes. We are sitting and we are watching and we are taking part in the experience of being human, and yet we have not lost ourselves in it. Again, if you actually thought you were in The Walking Dead or a horror movie or any movie where there's some kind of tragedy happening, you would be freaked out. It would stop being enjoyable. But if you can watch a movie and you leave the movie crying because you were identified enough with the characters, but not too much, you're like, that was a great movie. It made me cry and it was so beautiful. Oh my God. Right? We pay money for that. Why do we pay money for that? Why do we waste our time doing that? Because we enjoy it. So, Spirit is here to enjoy. That's one of my favorite names that is given to our true nature. Okay, there are many names for this, but one of my favorites is the enjoyer. The enjoyer. So the question again is, are we having fun yet? Now again, if you think fun means getting your way, having a vision board and checking off the list, making $1 million, being successful, being famous, whatever it is, you're missing the point. The enjoyment is whatever it is you are experiencing right now. Enjoy that. Rest back into your true nature and find how whatever it is, sorrow, joy, anxiety, a racing mind, a quiet mind, meditative peace, all these states, all of them are enjoyable to our true nature. It enjoys all of it. There is nothing that is beyond its capacity to love. It is all loving. All loving. Not loving of the good stuff and not the sinners, not the this and that. There is zero exception. All loving. And that is within each and every one of us. Okay? And so that's what we are trying to learn to both find. First, we have to find it. And then we have to begin to integrate that into our lives. So we are living from that space, coming from that space, moment by moment. Again, don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about it. Well, how am I going to do that tomorrow at work? How am I going to be able to do that with my kids? God. Again, the states, kids, work, whatever it is, those are going to come and go. What I'm pointing to is not going to come and go. It's always there. And again, with practice, like most spiritual things, practice, super helpful. With practice, you learn to be able to rest in that and as that more and more easily. All right, guys, I hope this was very helpful. Again, if there are questions, you can leave them in the comments. You can write me. Again, this is I'm doing these things free during the pandemic here, trying to help people out. But I am my work has definitely been affected by this. So if you are working, if you feel moved to contribute, help me out. Here are a few ways that you can contribute either directly, like one time, or you can become a patron on my Patreon page. That link is there. I'm putting stuff up there every day. I write every day, pretty much. I comment on an article and post interesting articles up there, either about spirituality or right now I'm doing a lot about coronavirus stuff. And then I'm posting videos almost daily. Some of them are live on here. Some of them are up there that I previously recorded. And there's a community on there. And in Buddhism and in my yoga community, Mahapatha Yoga, we talk about the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So if you don't have that, you might consider that this could be a community that you can join, because there are some very beautiful people who are involved in this community. So Buddha is the teacher, Dharma is the teaching, and Sangha is the community. And in Buddhism, that's really a trinity that you want to help you on your spiritual path. Without those, I'm not going to say you can't progress, but it's a lot harder. It's also less enjoyable. So I'm not going to say you have to have a teacher, you have to have a community, but man, it really makes a difference. It really helps. So just consider that, check it out. All the stuff I'm putting up there right now, or not all of it, there's still some paid content for the people who were patrons of mine before, but right now I'm just putting videos up again every day, writing, all that stuff is free. So there's a lot of free content out there, and there's years of content. So you can go back and check other stuff out. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me this evening, for sticking around. If you came late, this will be available both on the Patreon page and here on Facebook. This was pretty deep today that we went, so if you got a little confused or lost, don't worry about it. If this was a little over your head, go back, watch the meditation video, start meditating, because it's that practice that's going to allow you to access what I was talking about today. If this was all like, what the heck is he talking about, then that's going to help you out a lot, beginning a regular meditation practice, okay? All right, namaste, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again live here, probably tomorrow for a little yang yoga, probably same time, 8 o'clock. All right, thanks so much.